Is 7:31 on February 18th, 2026. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board at Town Hall and serving the officially designated newspapers a list of the meeting dates annually, indicating that this meeting would take place at Millburn Board of Education Center Building at 7:30 p.m. on February 18th, 2026. May I have a roll call, please?
Jonathan Baxter.
Here.
Allison Canfield.
Here.
Michael Cohen.
Here.
Jorge Mastropetro.
Here.
Deborah Neves.
Here.
Frank Sacamandi.
Here.
Michael Zion.
Here.
Srini Vijay. Sergey Sivsto.
Here.
Chris Heinrichs.
Here.
Chair Gaston Happer.
Here. All right, welcome everybody to the Millburn Township Planning Board meeting tonight. First on our agenda, we have approval of the meeting minutes for December 17th, 2025. Only the people that were present at the meeting can vote on this. We have a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from 12/17/2025. Motion. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No opposed, unanimously passes. Second on the agenda is the executive session meeting minutes from 12/17/2025. Have a motion to adopt those minutes. Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Second on the agenda, we do have an executive session listed, but yeah, we've pretty much made it a standard part of our meetings, but tonight, unless anybody has reason to go into executive session, we will carry this until next meeting. Does anybody have reason to have an executive session tonight? Yeah. Okay. All right. So wait, so we're not carrying it for next meeting, just till the end of this week?
Correct. That after we get through the public business, just a 5-minute or less update.
Okay. All right. So we'll skip along to the order of business for this evening. Start with ordinance 2728, that 26. We're going to discuss the master plan consistency review of the ordinance that is designating the Woodfield Short Hills Estates as a historic district pursuant to the historic preservation ordinance of the township of Millburn. Please.
It's only because I like to hand it off to Graham Petto before. As I'm the opening act, he's the main attraction. As well as should be. But as the board is familiar, this is a master plan consistency review on referral from the governing body of this land development ordinance. And we have the authority and only the authority to weigh in on whether or not it is consistent or at least not inconsistent. The master plan, we'll hear, again, not a public hearing, but we'll hear from our planner, Mr. Petto, as to his opinion, and he'll make that determination. And then the matter will be referred back to the governing body. And is it March 9 or March 2nd for this one?
This one is
March 3rd. I have neither. Okay, March 3rd. Okay. But it will be referred back to the governing body, and they will have the second reading and public hearing at that point. So without further ado, main attraction with the chair's permission.
Mr. Petto.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, Chair, Graham Petto here this evening, Board Planner, Township Planner. We've prepared a consistency review of the ordinance, and I'm happy to walk through that with the board this evening. I'll just go through and read it so it's on record for your benefit. So in accordance with the municipal land use law, the governing body may adopt ordinances that regulate the use of lands and buildings, and prior to adoption, in accordance with NJSA 44.55D-64, the governing body must refer the ordinance to the planning board for review and determination of whether the ordinance is consistent with the township master plan. The ordinance before you this evening establishes the Woodfield Short Hills Estates as a new historic district, which includes the following. It designates the boundaries of the historic district, which includes 26 contributing properties and 28 non-contributing properties. It establishes requirements for future construction to retain existing historic elements of the district, and provides a listing of all the properties individually, but that will be designated within the district as well. With respect to the relationship to the township master plan, in this case, in this section, I'm referring to the 2018 master plan reexamination and update that was adopted by this body on December 19th of 2018. The ordinance advances the following objectives and recommendations. Goal 5, objective 5.01, to encourage preservation and restoration of the structures of historic and/or architectural significance. Number 2 is goal 5, objective 5.02, to encourage the Millburn Township Historic Preservation Commission to conduct reviews of neighborhoods and structures to determine if there are additional areas or sites which deserve protection under the Township Historic Preservation Ordinance and make corresponding recommendations to the Township Committee. Goal 5, objective 5.04, to support the Historic Preservation Commission in its pursuit of safeguarding the heritage of the township by preserving Millburn's cultural, historical, social, archaeological, and architectural resources and sites. And then second, we've also conducted a review of the historic preservation element of the master plan. I believe it was adopted in 2023, is that correct, Allison?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. There are 2 recommendations that we provided here for the benefit of the planning board and their consideration of the ordinance consistency. The first is recommendation 2, which says to maintain the quality and quantity of locally designated historic resources, evaluate new historic sites and districts for local designation under the historic preservation ordinance, and evaluations should include previously underrepresented areas of the township. And recommendation 3, improve the protection of Millburn's historic resources and promote compatible new development. Township should support and undertake nominations of historic sites and districts to the New Jersey and National Register of Historic Places. New National Register listings will benefit the township in tangible ways. State and federal historic preservation grants and programs must always require national listing as a prerequisite for funding, and local designation is often a first step towards those higher level designations. So again, just in summary, the planning board shall make and transmit to the township committee a report identifying any provisions in the proposed ordinance that are inconsistent with the master plan and make recommendations concerning any inconsistencies, as well as can comment on any other matters that the board deems appropriate. Any questions? Yes.
First of the board, does anybody from the board have any questions for Graham?
It's pretty straightforward.
I did neglect to mention 2 things. One, and that's a good segue. If it's that straightforward, hopefully, our 1-page resolution incorporates the determination of the board with a finding of not inconsistent. But also for the record, it's my understanding that board member Canfield is refusing and not deliberating, voting on this particular matter. But I anticipate we'll be back for the balance of the master plan consistency reviews that we'll be doing this evening. So we do have the resolution if and when the board is ready.
Excuse me, so can I address
There's no public comment.
well, I'm just
You're
asking,
out of
can I
order.
address the board on this issue?
Discretion of the chair.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, so if you could let me have a couple of minutes to address it, I think I have the opposite on, your office.
And not consistent.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, if it helps, there is a public hearing that will be held for the governing body on forthcoming March 3rd. That is where all questions can be asked and comments can be made under oath as testimony on the record before the governing body makes a determination on the substance of the ordinance. Where our board only has the authority to focus on whether it's consistent or not with the master plan for the reasons cited by Mr. Petto. So it's a very narrow
I understand.
window
I understand.
of authority.
I understand, and I will limit myself to being consistent. My statement will explain to you why it's not consistent with the town ordinances. And the master plan obviously has to be consistent with the town.
Well, again, it's not a public hearing, but it's ultimately the discretion of the chair.
So I
Matter if we didn't.
It's, as I said, it's ultimately the discretion of the
Then
chair.
every application, something from the public might want to speak on
Yeah,
it.
I think we've always been pretty, it's
Okay.
not a public
We have
comment
rules, we have
period.
to follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way-
And we have to go based upon what Graham says, and then we discuss amongst ourselves. So I
Yeah.
understand that the public does have their opinion, and may not find it inconsistent with the master plan, but we basically have Graham to go with and ourselves, so.
Yeah, just to underscore, consistent with Mr. Warner's comments, this the statutory authority that we're conducting this review under is 40.59B-64, which narrowly limits the board's discretion in this matter to just consistency of the ordinance with the master.
Apologies, though, we're gonna just go with
No,
ourselves.
that's fine, I understand, I was merely trying to provide more information, but if you don't wish to hear me, that's perfectly fine.
It's not that we don't wish to hear you, I don't think we should hear you, that's the big difference.
And if it's helpful, as mentioned at the public hearing, you may wish to make some of the same statements as well as additional statements that may be relevant during the public hearing. I couldn't give you advice, obviously, but you certainly can do that,
Yeah, okay.
subject to the governing body and the township attorney's advice.
Thank you. All right. So, yeah. Is there any discussion on the inconsistency of this ordinance?
I mean, I think as Graham's right up. Goes through it pretty clearly, it is consistent with the master plan. They've outlined a number of objectives that it helps achieve. That recommendation, so pretty straightforward to me. Homes in the district are indeed, there's quite a few of them that are historic commercial properties. That's a dispute, so. I would say that this is not inconsistent with the master plan.
Yeah,
Unless anyone else has any comments, we can make. All right, so I make a motion that we find this not inconsistent with the master plan.
I'll second that. All right, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Jonathan Baxter,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Jorge Mastro Petro,
Yes.
Deborah Nevis,
Yes.
Frank Sacamandi,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Sergey Sisto,
Yes.
Chair Gaston Happer.
Yes. All right. Motion passes.
Was that 8 or 9?
That is a recusal count as a vote?
No, we have the recusal.
Okay, so then we would take Chris Heinrichs
Yeah.
as well.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that. I only got to 8. Yes. Yeah, if a member is absent or not qualified by way of recusal, then you go to your alternate. That's all one, then alternate. So 9-0 is for the record.
Excellent. Okay, next up on the agenda, we have 4 different ordinances dealing with affordable housing. And the way we want to go through it, the way I want to go through this is we will have Graham go through his memo that addresses all 4. As questions come up, please ask. At the end, we will vote on the inconsistency of each one of these individually. And we do have the resolutions prepared already. We already got a chance to read them. You need to tee it up in any other way?
No, same as before.
All right.
Once again, good evening, everyone. Graham Petto here, for planner. We prepared a consistency review of the 4 ordinances, and we did this collectively because I think it's a little bit easier, given that these are all related ordinances, for us to take a look at the master plan and master plan and the housing element in context of objectives. So with respect to that, I will first, and just a reminder that this is again consistent with the statutory authority that's under 40.5B-64. The governing body has introduced these ordinances and referred them here to the planning board for their review and determination whether they're consistent with the master plan. We have 4 ordinances before you this evening. The first 2731-26 is the Millburn Affordable Housing Ordinance. This ordinance repeals and replaces the existing DRZ Section 501 Affordable Housing and Section 502 Mandatory Affordable Housing Set-Aside Ordinance and replaces them in whole. It updates the local standards that are governing the creation, administration, and affordability controls, affirmative marketing, monitoring and enforcement of very low, low income, and moderate income housing units. It also establishes requirements applicable to inclusionary and 100% affordable developments. And it's really kind of the whole entire affordable housing ordinance. Just by way of contextual background, this is a model ordinance that was prepared by the Department of Community Affairs in consultation with the Fair Share Housing Center and the Affordable Housing Professionals Network of New Jersey. So this is the template ordinance that municipalities across the state are codifying, which essentially codifies the fourth round regulations under the amended Fair Housing Act, just by way of background. The second ordinance before you this evening is 2732-26, which is the Millburn Development Fee Ordinance. This ordinance repeals and replaces Chapter 22 of the Township Code. It updates and restates the township's authority and procedures to impose, collect, deposit, monitor, report, and expend residential and non-residential development fees for affordable housing purposes. It establishes fee rates, exemptions, and credits, collection timing, and provides that trust fund revenues, interest may be expended only for eligible affordable housing purposes with annual reporting and monitoring. This ordinance, once again, is a template model ordinance that was issued by DCA and the Fair Share Housing Center and Affordable Housing Professionals of New Jersey. So this is another ordinance that, is not nothing that we wrote specifically for Millburn. This is an ordinance that has been handed down to us as part of the amended Fair Housing Act process. The next ordinance is 2733-26, which establishes a new overlay zone here within the township, FR-AHO overlay zone. This establishes an affordable housing overlay zone designated and amends the zoning map as well. It enables properties within the designated overlay to be developed with specific densities for multifamily residential development in accordance with this board's adopted housing element share plan. Permits the multifamily residences with affordable housing set aside and provides details on which specific lots are fixed with this overlay zone. It's very limited in application and only applies to those lots identified and consistent with the housing element share plan. And then finally, 2734-26, this ordinance amends the OR1 zone and the OR3 zone, which are essentially site-specific zones for the Hilton hotel property and then the Upland site with the adjacent pad. Those two locations have been amended consistent with the housing element fair share plan. Those sites were selected as realistic opportunity to provide affordable housing and address the municipality's fourth round obligation. And so we've made amendments in both of these zones to provide a realistic opportunity for the development of affordable housing by adjusting permitted residential densities, incorporating some development standards, required components and locational requirements in accordance again with the housing element fair share plan. Essentially, how this relates to the housing element fair share plan, the two overlays, the overlay zone and the OR1 and OR3 amendment are all specific sites that are identified as our compliance sites in the fourth round plan. I do want to take a moment to commend this board and the township. This is one of the only communities that I'm working in where we did not have to amend our housing element fair share plan. The housing element fair share plan was not subject to any challenges. It was accepted by all reviewers, and our fourth round compliance strategies were given the A-OK as moving forward. So in many other communities, we're having to amend and adopt and redo the housing element fair share plan in conjunction with these new ordinances. That is not the case here. We're able to just move forward with the ordinances as we had outlined. How this then relates to the master plan, the 2018 master plan reexamination and update. We have this kind of broken out across a number of ordinances. I'll try and keep things consistent where I can because there's a lot of different items here. So goal 1, objective 1.05, to create the realistic opportunity to provide for Millburn's fair share of the region's affordable housing, the master plan, and recommendation on page M1 to promote clear, user-friendly, and transparent application review and public hearing processes for development proposals and applications. By affirming all of these regulations within your local ordinance, creates for a clear process for developers to come in and understand what the requirements are. Goal 1 globally, to encourage appropriate land uses that promote the character of the township as a small suburb of the highest quality. Through our locational analysis in the housing element fair share plan process, we identified specific locations to address that and make sure that we kept the community of a high quality. Goal 1, objective 1.01, did that one. Goal 1, objective 1.02, to promote the appropriate mix of development in downtown and other commercial areas. One of the site, we have commercial, these sites are all located in areas with mix of uses, with commercial uses to encourage co-location of things, provide for easier access consistent with the master plan recommendations and promote that development mix. See if there's any other ones. I think that's all of them. We had broken them out by ordinance, but I didn't want to get redundant and read through each of them. So in some, there's a number of efforts being advanced here by these suite of 4 ordinances. But I believe that everything is consistent with the master plan as these specific sites are identified within your housing element fair share plan.
Just for the record, you
Sure.
identified in 2734 that it was the Hilton and the Upton. Could you just review what the sites are in 2733?
Sure, it is addressed by block and lot.
Yeah, if you have addresses, that probably is
Yeah.
easier.
I don't have the addresses offhand, but it's
Or if you can describe.
the
it
block
in some way.
801 properties are located at the corner of Milburn Avenue and Main Street. And then the block 1005 property is the Eli Tahari facility down in the CMO.
Sorry, where?
Eli Tahari industrial building down in the CMO district.
It's down by like the temporary town hall.
Yes,
Further
near
down.
Willow Street, yeah.
And the other overlay zone, which one is that?
The 801, block 801, it's a combination of lots, I believe, 2 front on Milburn Avenue and 2 front on Main Street, kind of wrapping the corner, at the southwestern corner.
It's where Sunny Scrambles is on Main Street, that block.
Okay, and RH1, R1 and R3, which one are those?
OR1 is the Hilton site, and then the OR3 is the Upton property,
Okay.
or the adjacent cap. And just by way of further background, just for everybody's benefit here, the properties on block 801 and 1005, as well as the property at the Upton site were all subject to inquiries or requests by property owners or developers seeking inclusion in the plan. We evaluated their proposals and incorporated them at standards that the township felt was best, the board felt was best. And that was a statutory requirement of the board round process to respond and evaluate inquiries by developers that went during that process.
Mhm.
No board members have any other questions? Like I said, 1 or 2 quick questions. The 2731-26 and 2732-26, the AHO and DFO, those are both part of the model, correct?
That's correct.
And I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, would that be last Thursday's latest iteration?
Our office received it Friday at 11 a.m. from ECA, yeah.
And
Apologies for there's quick turnaround, but
no, they did, kudos for quick turnaround, if I may. And also concur that most municipalities, planning boards have had to have an amended housing and fair share plan adopted before doing a master plan consistency review of the affordable housing implementation ordinances. That's been my experience as well. So the kudos carry over to the governing body and the planning board as well. And again, if I may. And I guess it was split apart in essence because of where the affordable housing ordinance and development fee ordinances appear in the current chapters of the code.
that's correct. Yeah, the affordable housing ordinance lives in the development regulations and zoning ordinance, DRZ, and then the development fee is located in chapter 22, which is the fees for.
Makes perfect sense. No further questions.
Do these create an obligation by the township to monitor the ongoing percentage of the development that is affordable? And what the rent is, does the township have to monitor that?
So what this ordinance does, there's a component section called an administrative agent. So that is an entity that the township retains. There are many administrative agent firms across the state, and they conduct that monitoring. They maintain a list of applicants waiting for affordable housing for the municipality. They maintain the inventory of available units by project. They conduct that. on
So it's
behalf
not
of
the township, it's
It's not the township,
state.
essentially it's a subcontractor.
And we're paying for it.
Yeah.
Oh, we pay for it, we pay for
Yeah.
it.
And if I
But we
may,
don't have an obligation, in other words, if they change it, it's not, we don't have a liability if we don't monitor it.
Well, it's not, we're paying someone to monitor.
To monitor.
So they have a liability.
with the chair's permission, very, very briefly, the obligation exists statutorily under the Fair Housing Act, for the vast majority of municipalities. Not qualified urban aid municipalities that don't have that obligation, but the vast majority of the 564, roughly 500, have the obligation statutorily for auditing and all this monitoring. these ordinances are implementation ordinances by which you implement those statutory obligations. And as Graham said, there's an entity that is the administrative agent for the township to do it. But the ordinance doesn't create the obligation exists statutorily under the Fair Housing.
I had a quick question, it's very nitpicky, it's not on the stuff I sent out. Wanted to point out that it's another. 5015, DRC 5015B, there's a table that I think the intent is it tracks, I think, the rate that the affordable housing units are finished, that they track the same rate or more or less the same rate as the market rate housing units are finished. I just wanted to know what that 25 plus 1 meant for the first row.
My interpretation of the way that this paragraph is that once you go over the 25%, that's when you have to have at least 10% done. Be affordable.
Okay, so, okay. 1 unit over 25%, maybe that's the way it's interpreted, like the 1 is a unit rather than
That's a good
percentage?
question.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's what.
And maybe something
Okay,
that
I guess somebody might argue about it one day.
They changed.
Sometimes, it's happening in New York City a lot, you'll have a building that's still under construction, and several floors will come online. What they don't want to have happen is, or the affordable units to be the very last ones.
That's right.
No, I understand the motivation, it's just if you look at the table, the first row
The
is,
plus one.
everyone has a percentage in it, except the first row, which has this mysterious 25 plus 1. It literally says 25 plus 1, not 26.
It did modify it this year. It used to be same concept, different
Yeah.
Different word.
Different rates.
percentage and yeah, the wording.
Question,
Yes.
just so I'm clear, so this is just overlay, this does not do setback, side yard setback, nothing like that, this is just designating them as overlay zone.
That's correct. Yeah, all of the underlying standards are still applicable.
Okay.
And in both cases of the overlay that we have applied, there is already a permission for underlying residential use in those zones. So we're just increasing the density marginally on each of these properties.
Okay,
to
and that
provide
was based
additional
on
opportunity.
the the potential developer requests?
As part of our housing on the fair share plan, which I know going back to last June for everybody, we did receive inquiries from these property owners seeking inclusion in the plan. I can say that both of these selected sites that are subject to the 4th round of affordable housing overlay zone are seeking much higher densities, and we selected a density that we felt was more contextually appropriate with the community, the surrounding area.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And they did not challenge.
They did not challenge.
I think one of them did after the fact, but it was too late, or required,
Yeah,
required.
One for the CMO zone, they
Yeah.
came in with some members of the township committee, myself included. And they asked for more units, and they said that they aren't even contemplating starting construction until 5 years from now. Because I guess the existing building is leased out till then, and they just put a roof on it. So it was a little odd, but I imagine 5-year checking point, they're gonna circle back. But we made it clear that the numbers of the numbers.
Yeah, just by way of timing, so the plan was adopted by June 30th of last year, and any interested challenging entity had until the end of August to file a challenge. And that period came and went.
They came later than that.
That's right.
And my request of the board is rather than to do one overarching resolution as to consistency, to break it up between, we have 4 separate resolutions for the 4 separate ordinances, 27, 31, 32, 33, 34.
I will make a motion that ordinance 2731-26 is not inconsistent with the master plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Roll call vote, please.
Jonathan Baxter,
Yes.
Allison Canfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes,
Jorge Mastro Petro,
Yes.
Deborah Nevas,
Yes.
Frank Sacamandi,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
yes.
Sergio Sisto,
Yes.
Chris Heinrichs,
You only go to 9.
Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me, the last one. Apologies. Sorry about that. And then Chair Gaston.
Yes. All right, motion passes unanimously. Do I have a motion or will someone make a motion to find ordinance 2732-26 not inconsistent with the master plan?
And I'm sorry, then all of these would incorporate adoption of the resolution associated therewith. That's how I'll interpret.
We have a motion by Deborah and a second by Allison. Roll call vote, please.
Jonathan Baxter,
Yes.
Allison Campfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Jorge Mastro Petro,
Yes.
Deborah Nevis,
Yes.
Frank Sakamondi,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Sergey Sisto,
Yes.
Chair Gaston Hopper.
Yes. Would someone like to make the motion that ordinance 2733-26 is not inconsistent with the master plan?
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Jonathan Baxter,
Yes.
Allison Campfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Jorge Mastro Petro,
Yes.
Deborah Nevis,
Yes.
Frank Sakamondi,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Sergey Sisto,
yes.
Chair Gaston Hopper.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. And finally, someone like to make a motion that ordinance 2734-26 is not inconsistent with the master plan.
Make a motion?
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Jonathan Baxter,
Yes.
Allison Campfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Jorge Mastro Petro,
Yes.
Deborah Nevis,
Yes.
Frank Sakamondi,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Sergey Sisto,
Yes.
Chair Gaston Hopper.
Yes. Okay, I guess last up with the switch, we will have a quick executive session. I'd like to end the video feed now. We will not take any formal action after we come out of our executive session, and we will close the meeting. Right,
Mr. Chair, yes, yeah, but as the agenda says, no application is scheduled for this evening, so the executive session will be our last piece of business. And I do, though, before we go offline, we have a resolution, as always, for executive session. I'll summarize it because the items to be discussed relate to litigation under section 12B7 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Public may be excluded from such discussions. The litigation involves the High Center for Living Judaism, Inc. versus Township of Milburn. Its anticipated deliberations conducted in closed session will be disclosed to the public upon determination by the planning board that the public interest no longer will be served by such confidentiality, and the resolution shall take effect immediately. As with all resolutions, motion second, roll call vote, please.
I make a motion to enter executive session. Do I have a second? Roll call vote, please.
Jonathan Baxter,
Yes.
Allison Campfield,
Yes.
Michael Cohen,
Yes.
Jorge Mastro Petro,
Yes.
Deborah Nevis,
Yes.
Frank Sakamondi,
Yes.
Michael Zion,
Yes.
Sergey Sisto,
Yes.
Chair Gaston Hopper.
Yes.